Hello there and welcome. It's time for another video, and this is my follow-up, or rather my first video on the Teams 25 event that took place last week. And I've been waiting to make any videos for this one because these events are hyped and it's easy to get caught up in the hype. So I wanted to cool down a little bit, take a little bit of a step back and look at what did they actually announce and what does this one mean. So there were a lot of features, a lot of new functionality, new products, a lot of cool stuff that they announced. But for me, perhaps the more important things are what they did not really say and what actually came out a little bit after the event on Friday. So the first thing that I noticed when I watched the keynote, the founder's keynote, was that they had taken the change that they started last year, which actually was to transform Atlassian from a product company focusing on software development to become more of a generic platform, something that will be a little bit more, how should we put it, useful for everyone, that kind of like a Lego box of some sort, so you can actually mix and match things. And if you saw the keynote, you probably saw that graphic that they had regarding their new platform structure. So what that one showed was that they are now changing the way things look, what they name things, and even more things like that. So let me just show you that graph and just jump over to the video and show you what I mean with this new graphics. But this is the graphic I'm referring to. So before, we have always had Atlassian showing like Jira has been the core of the business, the core of their platform for basically 2 decades. And what they are changing now is, first of all, they are now categorizing their services. So now, for example, Jira, Confluence and Loom are considered to be generic that everyone can use. And then you have specific one or special focus areas. So for example, you have Jira Product Discovery is now part of the product section, and you have Bitbucket and Compass are now in the software bucket, and so on. But what is interesting about this one is that you can see the word apps. Not products, not modules, not any other term. So it is now apps. And this is something that they have gone out now on Friday, because I was wondering, have I missed something here now? The entire keynote is referring to apps, and it didn't make any sense to me why you're referring to these things as apps, because they're not apps. They're products or services or possibly modules. So I'm going to show you the presentation the community article they published on Friday, and people are not happy about it. I think this is a very drastic change that people are going to have a very hard time to actually wrap their head around, much more so than the issues controversy when they renamed issues to work. But what we are seeing here is a shift here now. So you have the colored apps here now, which used to be our products. They are at the top, and then you have something that they refer to as platform apps, which is also weird because now we are saying that we have a platform, a unified platform by the look of this one. So you have the Atlassian Cloud platform, and in that one you now have platform apps, and I'm assuming the other ones will be the product apps, which is already there. It's starting to get a little bit confusing because I don't really understand the hierarchy now, because you have a platform and you're saying that you have one platform that is Atlassian Cloud, which is different what they had before. Before we have had Jira is one platform, Confluence is one platform, Align is one platform, and so on. They have all been built on different architecture and different foundations, which is why, for example, you cannot have that much of a connection between Jira Align and Jira Software, or that is now just Jira, because they are on different platforms. And this is also what happened to the external ones, like Status Page is one platform, you have Opsgenie is one platform, That one they are now killing off and they are migrating it into the Jira platform. So having this view that shows that we now have one platform, that would indicate a substantial change in the infrastructure and the architecture of the Atlassian ecosystem. And I'm not really sure that is true, at least not yet. Maybe this is a vision that they want to have, but I do not believe that they have completely migrated away, so they have a cloud platform and that they now can add any module that they want, and they will just work seamlessly with each of the other modules through that platform. Not really sure that is true. And underneath that, they have something they refer to teamwork graph, which is basically the connections between different things. And to me, that one is, they're referring to billions of connection points and things like that. And I'm not really sure what they're referring to here, if that is the database structure that they have, or what this is, because they are saying that everything is connected to everything. So I can follow basically what you do in Jira Part Discovery, I can connect it to the teams, I can connect it to the goals, and so on. So for me, that is just basically the database structure and some kind of flexible way. And just to confuse everything even more now, they are referring to goals now, for example, and I'm guessing projects should be in here too, but it's not. So I'm a little bit curious about that one. But goals is here, and that is now a platform app, which means that it is now then usable throughout all products, or in this case, all apps, which means that I can now have goals in Loom, for example, or I can have goals in Bitbucket or in Jira Service Management, because that would be what a platform app would then be, because it will then be a part of the platform itself. So this one is massive in terms of change architecturally, technically, and also in many ways financially, because they also announced then that 2 of these groupings will now be something that they will belong to something that they call collections. So let's jump over to the collections screen and just show you what they are referring to there. This is one of the collections that they now presented, the Teamwork collection, which is basically a Confluence, Jira, and Loom. And then they add some Rovo agents there for free, and this one will now be a package. So they have had bundles before, but this is now a new term that they're introducing called collections. And collections, and this one is, they weren't very forthcoming with what this one actually is or how it works. So Mark, he said that this one will now start at $15 per user per month, but there was no indication if this is for standard, premium, enterprise, free, whatever version that one is. And I've also heard some rumors that this only applies if you have at least 100 users. I haven't been able to confirm it, but if that is true, then it's terrible. And also we don't know the scale between, if this is for the standard, what is now the jump up to the premium, and how bad is that one. But it should be cheaper than having Confluence and Jira together. So if you buy them separately, this should be cheaper. Because Loom is basically for free. You should not have to pay for that one, because Atlassian is trying to sell Loom through this one. So this one is probably a really good option, and I'm expecting that we will see a lot of people moving over to the Teamwork collection very soon, and hopefully they will save a bunch of money, and that they will now be able to work more seamlessly through all these 3 apps, because I think it makes sense to have them all together. They very clearly said also that you can still have, just buy one. If you just want to have Jira, or you just want to have Confluence, or just Loom, you can still buy that. So this is not something that they will take away. It's just, this is a way for you to bundle these products into one and getting a lower price for it. The second collection that they announced, which is the one I'm a little bit confused and maybe a little bit concerned about, is the strategy collection. And the reason for that one is that you have a line, the Jira line that we all love and hate, because no one knows what it is, and it has been built for strange things. So it isn't very popular, and it's super expensive. And then last year they announced Focus, their new, I guess we can call it app now then, that is in addition then to Align. So Focus will then be the tool where you actually have finance, basically. So you can have your budgets in there. And now they also announced then Talent, which is for finding talent within your organization. So if you need some people for a certain project, or you need to do something special for it, and you need to figure out which ones within our company have the skills and the capabilities that I'm looking for and who's available. Now, on paper, this collection seems awesome for a strategic perspective. But the problem is Align was a safe product, meaning it was built for basically middle managers to actually manage projects or programs. It was never designed to be on a C-level, so it was never designed for the top management to actually have strategies in there. And from what I can tell, it's not really working that well for that either. So I'm not really sure how they will actually adjust Align and to actually become a strategic tool, because middle management, you have product strategy. Yes, that is perfect for middle managers, but they are selling it now as a strategic tool, meaning that this is now from an organizational strategy point of view, which means that you need to be able to have this one on multiple levels, all the way from C-level down to product. So you need to be able to actually strategize and connect things for different levels. And as far as I can tell, that doesn't work now. Focus was announced last year. It was given one of those, you show something and you quickly pull it away so people don't see that it's a scam. And from what I can tell, even people that have Align that was supposed to get this one for free last year, they haven't even received it yet. Now they're announcing general availability, which is weird because no one has actually heard or seen anything about this one yet, unless it is for a select few customers. And I don't, because what they present is that finance is still something that you import from other systems. So you can't do any budgets, you cannot actually have any finance within Focus itself. You need to get it from another system. And that in itself takes away kind of the purpose of having a tool for finance and budgeting. And Talent, from what little I saw of it, it looked like a bait and switch, because it is a talent, more like finding the right people. It's not a resource allocation tool. I could see nothing in there related to a person's time. I could not see anything related to how much a person is billing, for example, or what they cost. Which means that it's more like what an agency of artists would use to actually see that we have someone who needs to do something cool. A circus artist is required that can do juggling. Let's find that person, and then they find it, and then they put them into that performance. But that's not what people at management, especially at strategic management, needs, because what they need is to be able to do planning on a strategic level to see that both internally and externally, both our CAPEX and OPEX budgets, see how much can we actually do, who is responsible for what kind of allocation do we have for certain things, do we have people that are in the red and that are over-allocated, do we have resource areas where we can't actually find the resources because we are understaffed. And we also need to connect this one then to money. So if I know, for example, that Jimmy, he has a high salary of X amount of Swedish crowns, then I need to know how much can I actually utilize him within my project where I have a budget of X, Y, and Z. Because when projects get delayed, which they often do, then I need to know how much more money do I actually need to request. And if that is not handler in this tool, then I will still use an Excel sheet for it. So then this tool is kind of pointless. And the same thing for Align. It needs to be, it can't be a safe planning tool. It needs to be a portfolio management tool if you want to have this one on a strategic level. So this one, I feel that the fact that they put this one as one of the two collections means that they are super serious about it. And I think they have a problem with this one, unless I missed something, because they are now focusing on this one, excuse the pun, as if it is a project planning tool or a project strategic tool. And they need to sell it as such because the majority of large organizations are not agile, not even in the slightest. They are product planning organizations that are very much OPEX, CAPEX driven. So if you want to call that waterfall, I don't really care what you call it, but they cannot have this tool existing only on middle management level. They need to have this as a strategic tool for the whole organization, which means that you need to have this on C-level, and you need to have this portfolio management on multiple levels. You need to have money needs to be in there. People need to be in there. You need to have individuals, and you need to have finance that is actually trickled down so you can actually see exactly what's happening. And I haven't seen those things in Align. I haven't seen it in Focus, and I have certainly not seen it in Talent. And the fact that it took over a year to get Focus to general availability and no one actually knows what it is, that means that Talent probably will be at least 1 year away as well. Because they basically showed 2-3 screens and then they pulled it away. And so if this is a tool that they actually want to focus on, being one of the 2 focus areas, this seems strange to me. So I think this is a pure marketing thing, that they want to be able to transition into a strategic area or a strategic segment, but they know they don't have the tools available for it yet. So I would take this one with a grain of salt, and I would not commit to anything here before I actually see Focus on Talent and Align working properly in proper screens and in some demo videos. Another thing that is very concerning about this one, if we take a look at Teamwork collection, for example, you get 3 products and the price there starts at $15 per user. Now, Align has never been open with how much it costs. It's always been difficult to actually get a quote on how much it costs. They actually have it now on the website, very hard to find, a little bit obscured, because all the CTA says contact marketing or sales. But if you look at it, you can see it's around $77,500 or something like that, dollars for 50 users. That means that on average you will pay $130 or something like that per month per user, which is an insane amount of money that you actually need to chalk out for having something that you have never seen, that you have never tested, and that most companies, most partner companies, don't even know how it works. It's very difficult to actually get help from partners because this one has such a low priority compared to the other products. And it's also something that we cannot actually test or use ourselves. So it's basically, in Sweden we have this saying that you're buying the pig in the sack, which means that you're basically having a salesperson coming up and saying, I have this beautiful pig in my sack here, and you can buy it for X amount. And you say that, but I don't know how big it is, or even if it's alive, so how do I know if I want it or not? Well, you have to take my word for it. And I feel that this is kind of what they're doing with the strategy collection here. They don't show us exactly what you can do. They don't have people that can actually play around with it. There's no free version for this one. You can request to have a demo set up, but without understanding the configuration possibilities, that's like saying that, yeah, I would like to configure a house, but I don't know what houses are. So I don't really know if I should request a bathroom or a bedroom or a sunroof or a balcony, because I don't even know if these things exist. So I think they are in trouble when it comes to the strategy collection. Now let's move back to the product suite again and their division for that one. So let me get back to that one. So this is the next slide that was presented with the same setup with where you have your new product apps now, and that is displayed in the different categories. And this is the shift I was talking about. Atlassian is no longer the center, the core of the experience that you have in the Atlassian ecosystem. So instead it will now be Rovo that will be the heart and soul of every product and app or whatever you want to call them in the Atlassian ecosystem. And this is a rather big shift from what they have had in the past. And I think this is significant because it now shows that they are looking more towards Rovo agents, like very advanced, or not very advanced. You have more advanced automatics, basically. So you have, so you can automate things even further, and they have new functionality. So it's basically automations on steroids, and these agents now are super easy to build because they also introduced the no-code studio, which will be one of the platform apps that will now, I assume it will be built for basically everything. And having Rovo in the center like this is also a good indication on what they are aiming for in the future. So for example, if you have Confluence, Jira, and Jira Service Management, I believe, then you will get Rovo for free. So they will actually roll it out for premium users right now. So if you're a premium user, you will have Rovo now appearing in your products. And if you're on standard, then you will also get Rovo, which was a little bit surprising. But that shows how keen they are that you should actually start using this product. So Rovo will now be the standard way of searching and using your agents and things like that. So they really, really want to focus on this one. And I thought this was interesting. And I also thought it was interesting that they managed to have 3 agents by default for each of the 5 sections here. So you apparently get 3 agents pre-configured out of the box for each of them. So we need to dig into what those are and see how they actually work. Next up, they were talking about cloud and the fact that they are now splitting up, or not splitting up, they are actually adding new options for cloud. So let's jump over to that screen. So this is the new reality then for the cloud platform that will now be divided into 3. So we have the commercial cloud today, and they have, I think it was 2 weeks ago, they announced then the Atlassian Governance Cloud that will be then for US government agencies only, as I understand it. A very highly secured environment where they follow all the regulations within the United States when it comes to what governance can and cannot do when it comes to cloud instances. And this one, I think they have learned a lot from. So they are also announcing now the Atlassian Isolated Cloud, which for everyone that is on data center, this could be something that you might want to be a little bit concerned about, because what they are doing is now basically having a hosted data center, but with the cloud platform. So you should now be able to, if they do it right, you should no longer be restricted to having a data center because you have legal or security regulations that require you to control your data in a certain way. So the Atlassian Isolated Cloud will most likely become the new data center. So if you have these requirements, then you really, really should take a look at Isolated Cloud, because what we have seen in the past months, I guess, is that data center certifications are now gone. You can no longer renew them and you cannot take any new ones. And we are now also hearing that you can no longer renew data center for multiple years, which means that you can now only do it 1 year at a time. And the reason for that seemed to be that they don't want to wait multiple years to have the conversation to actually try to move people over to the cloud. And considering that Atlassian Isolated Cloud will come next year, I assume that they want to have that conversation next year with all people that are in data center and try to convince them to move over. Now, I personally think that 2028 or maybe 28 to 30, 2030 would be the break point for when data center would probably go away completely. So that is just my assumption and what I'm thinking, and I'm leaning more towards 28 because of the rapid pace that Atlassian is moving and the way they actually are communicating regarding cloud. So if you have thoughts about moving to cloud, I would strongly suggest that you take a look at it this year, because next year I'm Not sure dual licensing will still even be there, and maybe they will have something else and trying to convince people to go to isolated cloud. But there's no assurance that you will actually have the financial support that you can have today. So don't wait on this one, because I'm afraid a data center will go away. So what else do we have? There was a lot of focus on human resources, which is kind of interesting that specifically human resources have been a target for Atlassian. I don't know if that is a segment that I felt that there's a lot of people that want to get into this one. So we have the journeys, of course, that is specifically built for HR, I would say. Playbooks can be used for multiple purposes, but journeys, I felt that that one was designed specifically for HR. And they are pushing out a bunch of templates now for HR for different reasons, which is fun because I've actually been working a while now with HR questions. And rather than building mock-ups or flows that actually simulate exactly what Journey is supposed to do, we now have the proper support for it. So I like that they are actually moving towards that. So let's see, what else do I have? Yeah, Loom, of course. Loom is very much at the core and center, as you could see for the product view there, that they want to push Loom into your way of working, so creating videos rather than typing or talking to people. Presumably more for rather than writing things. And we also have one product that I don't really understand what it was. So let me just jump to that one in the video and we can talk about it. So this was announced, Customer Service Management, a new app that is not JSM, not Jira Service Management, but a Customer Service Management app. And let me just play this one and you can tell me if you understand what this product is.
Today in JSM, 25% of our customers already deploy JSM for customer support. The new CSM app is going to make your customer experiences even better. CSM comes with a Rovo Chat widget that you can embed in your own website. Here, when one of Vitafleet's customers has an issue, they can pull up the chat widget to report their problem. The customer explains their need to generate a report, and Rovo Chat is able to discover the answer across the knowledge base immediately and deliver the right one. Awesome, problem solved. But the customer now wants these reports to be automated monthly, but that feature isn't available yet. Rovo connects to JPD and detects that this feature is already on the roadmap. Thanks to Teamwork Graph and AI, this information is delivered to the customer instantaneously. But what about more complex problems that need a human touch? Rovo spots that the customer request of adding medication to the system is a complex case that needs expert help. So it requests a Loom video from the customer and creates a case with the embedded Loom for the developer to investigate. CSM can help the developer by showing things like ongoing incidents and recent changes, similar issues that have occurred in the past and related bugs in the dev's backlog, and even a recommended runbook to fix the problem. Running the runbook in this case doesn't solve the issue. And so the CSM app automatically creates a bug in the right dev team's backlog, creating a seamless partnership between customer support and dev teams. Once the bug is resolved, the customer support agent can then close the loop with the customer automatically. We've been piloting our own AI-powered CSM app internally at Atlassian, and in a few short weeks, the results have been impressive.
Now, tell me if I'm wrong here, but this is basically having the Rovo Chat in the portal, which basically is just replacing the virtual agent, which was also based on Rovo. And then it can do a few things that you could previously do manually. So, for example, getting information about other things like bugs and things like that. That's what Compass was for. That you got that information in the ticket when you connected to the service that you had in Compass. So I don't really understand what that one was for. And having the right playbook, wouldn't it make more sense to actually have an automation that can actually be triggered so I can actually set the correct playbook, because right now you can only have a list of playbooks. You cannot actually use the automations for anything like that. So I'm not really sure what this is. It's basically Rovo Chat that you can show in the portal in a different way, and a few new views in the JSM that take advantage of Rovo, that it can actually get you. I don't understand why did this has to be a different app. Why could this not be a part of Jira Service Management? Is this just a way to distribute or explain that this one is a new functionality? And what happens if I don't have this one for Jira Service Management? Can I still use the Compass functionality? And I'm super confused about this one, because it did not make any sense to have this as a separate app. This is just an extra function and that you could just build into Jira Service Management. And having a new one that's called Customer Service Management, I don't know if that is for branding purposes, so you can actually do SEO for it. But yeah, I don't know. I probably want it anyway, but I'm not going to pay for it if it's just for Rovo Chat that I basically already have. And I'm also concerned what will happen now to the virtual agent. Will that go away? Will this now be the new virtual agent? There are so many questions that comes up when they do these kind of things. So I get a little bit annoyed when they just flash things before you. And I don't know if they had a session for it where they actually went through and explained this. But for a founder keynote, you need to go a little bit deeper and explain what is this and what am I going to use it for and what happens to every other functionality that is connected to it. But that was me ranting about Teams 25. Overall, I think it was a great event. I think they had a lot of new things presented. I think that the sessions where they showed, for example, how we are going to work and where Rovo will fit into all of this is really, really interesting. And I think that if you are, like me, a Jira administrator and a consultant especially, then you need to become an expert in Rovo, because that is the new Atlassian. The new Atlassian is all about Rovo. I will probably do a few additional videos, a little bit deep dives in a few of the topics here. But for now, I think this one will summarize how I felt about Teams 25. And I'm really happy that they announced then that we will have the European Teams 25 in October, also in Barcelona. So hopefully I will be able to go there. And if you are going as well, please make sure that you look me up and we can have a little chat about the good and the bad that is Atlassian at the moment. But for now, I guess the only thing that remains for me to say that I hope that you will have a great day, awesome week.